A brand new Pokemon was just unveiled for Scarlet and Violet, Grafaiai, the toxic monkey Pokemon. Based on a member of the lemur family, the Grafaiai draws many elements from its real-world influence. Most notably, perhaps, that elongated middle finger, which it uses to capture its prey. The real-life uses its creepy, scrawny, long finger to rapidly tap on the trees which, similar to a woodpecker, allows it to map out the hollow insides to locate any grubs that may be present. Once it finds a target, it uses the same long finger to reach in, hook a grub, and pull it out of the tree. Grafaiai also uses its middle finger to catch bugs, but in a very different way. Utilizing the venom in its mouth, which, incidentally, changes color depending on the berries it's eaten, it coats its finger with the venom and paints it onto trees and rocks. This saliva paint gives off a sweet scent, which attracts bug-type Pokemon, who are then paralyzed on contact with the venom. Grafaiai are known to paint these markings just as night falls, and will then return for their prey just before dawn. This venomous saliva suggests that Grafaiai, as well as being based on their namesake, also draws inspiration from the only venomous primate in the world, the slow loris. A distant cousin to the and other lemurs, the slow loris still retains much of the same morphology, like those beady little eyes. Lorises hail from Southeast Asia, unlike lemurs, who are isolated to the island of Madagascar. The way the slow loris produces its venom is via a gland close to its armpit, which secretes a noxious oil. By licking the gland and combining the oil with its saliva, the slow loris gains a flesh-rotting bite. Scientists believe that they use this to resolve disputes amongst their own kind, as the slow loris is known to be incredibly territorial, exactly the same as the way Grafaiai is described. So the next time somebody tells you Grafaiai is based on an you can amaze them with your in-depth knowledge of monkey glands and primate spit. As fascinating as all that is, it's not actually what we're talking about today. No, I'm more interested in what Grafaiai could mean for gameplay within Scarlet and Violet. You see, within the gameplay reveal trailer for Grafaiai, we can see that those tree markings are actually present where Grafaiai roam. If these markings are available within the game, and they indicate to us, the player, that a Grafaiai may be near, could the other elements of the markings we've been told about also exist within the game? By which I mean, could these markings attract bug-type Pokemon to them? If we find these markings as night falls, could we walk up to them and find a paralyzed bug Pokemon? Or if we find the markings in the early hours of the morning, before the sun rises, could we find Grafaiai instead? Are we finally going to see Pokemon interact with each other and with their environment whilst in the wild? This is something I've wanted in a Pokemon game for a very long time. I'm a huge fan of the Monster Hunter franchise. The creatures in that and the way they interact with one another and the world they live in truly makes the games come alive. We see herds of herbivores wandering together, with adults protecting their young. If you attack them, the females and their young will flee, whereas the males will stay to defend them. In later iterations of the game, you could even lure different monsters into each other's territory, where they will fight each other in what the game refers to as a turf war. For the longest time, I thought this was a pipe dream for Pokemon, something we wouldn't see for many generations, but Grafaiai may be the latest in a series of hints that suggest such a game mechanic may in fact be coming to Generation 9. Our first clue came from the Welcome to Paldea trailer. In fact, all of our clues come from that trailer. Kind of a shame I didn't see this until now. But here we go. We see within the wild, most Pokemon live in herds, or packs, with evolved Pokemon living with and looking after their weaker pre-evolved forms. Growlithe and Arcanine, Honchkrow and Murkrow, Slacking and Vigoroth, Houndoom and Houndour. We saw something similar to this in Legends Arceus, but what I'd truly love to see is the different responses each member of the pack has to other Pokemon or even yourself. Would an Arcanine fearlessly defend its Growlithe pups from a trainer it's wary of? Another shot in the trailer that leads me to believe these kinds of mechanics will be implemented is the one of Cubchoo fleeing Cetitan. This is clear evidence that Pokemon now possess AI that dictates their behavior should they encounter one another, with new animations to boot. That may seem like a small thing, but let's not forget that merely one generation ago, Pokemon didn't even have an animation for turning around. The third and final hint that has led me to this conclusion comes from the description of Paldean Wooper on the Scarlet and Violet website. It's another new Poison-type Pokemon, and similar to how Grafaiai is said to paralyze Pokemon before returning to them later, Pokemon who wander close to Paldean Wooper are said to become poisoned. What this could mean is, Were you to wander into the marshes of Paldea and find a number of Pokemon already poisoned before you battle them, you would know a Paldean Wooper was near. These kinds of interactions between Pokemon that give us an insight into how they live in the wild and the effects they have on their environment goes a long way to bringing this world to life. I mentioned a few weeks ago on the Goldenrod podcast, new episodes every Friday at 7 PM UK time, that I would love a Pokemon game where I could roleplay as a wildlife documentarian. Utilizing the camera we've already seen within the new Rotom phone, I'd take on the role of someone like David Attenborough, observing these Pokemon in their natural habitats and witnessing how they behave without human interference. The closest we've ever got to this in the Pokemon franchise would be in Pokemon Snap, but as that is effectively an on-rail shooter with pre-scripted events, it's always felt more like I was finding ways to trigger different action sequences rather than the Pokemon actually reacting in real time to my presence. This kind of gameplay might also explain why the crouching mechanic is back despite the seeming exclusion of the Legends Arceus catching mechanic. If you're able to sneak up on a Pokemon, then you can observe their behavior without them being aware of your presence and therefore witness how they truly act in the wild, kind of like we see in Grafaiai's reveal trailer. Despite this evidence, we can't take anything for certain until it's confirmed by Game Freak themselves. But I really hope I'm not reading too much into this, as better AI would go a long way to elevating this franchise to feel more like a AAA game released in the year 2022. What do you think about this? Let me know in the comments below, because that's going to do it for today, guys. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you join me again on the next one. But until then, we'll catch you later. Continuing to make these videos would not be possible without the help from our channel members, and especially our Mega Tier members. Thank you.